Hi, everybody. It is Kimmie and Lorina back for some spirit chat.
Hi, Kimmie. Hi, everybody. Yes, we're here for Spirit Chats. I think you'll like this conversation that we're going to have today. Very interesting. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
our topic of today is intuitive experiences, psychic experiences, and how they come up during plant medicine as opposed to intuitive psychic experience outside of plant medicine. Did I phrase that correctly?
I think so. Well,
Okay.
yeah, we're going to talk about plant medicine and we're going to talk about psychic experiences and that cross section, how some are real, some are real true connections, some are real true kind of spiritual connections, some are illusions, some are, and you can speak to that. You have some good stories around that.
Yeah.
And also just and doing psychic work and what you may see. Yeah, it's really interesting stuff. Really
Mm.
interesting. So you have done more plant medicine than me. So
Mhm.
you go for it. Where do you want to start?
I guess I'll just talk about for about, I think it was about 5 years, I was immersed in healing myself through plant medicine work, starting with Kambo, which is non-entheogenic or what they call entheogenic or psychedelic healing modality
Mhm.
that's complementary to ayahuasca. And that's why I went into it, is because it didn't have the psychedelic experience, but it had some massive abilities to heal. I was always dealing with anxiety, like intense anxiety, and it would lead into panic attacks during stressful times in my life. Then opened the door to sitting and working with cactus plants like peyote, San Pedro, and ayahuasca, eventually Iboga. So
Oh,
I got the
wow.
grand finale with the Iboga. And
Doesn't that last a really long time? The
yeah,
Iboga?
it's like 36, 48 hours. It's very
Oh,
physically taxing. And that one is more of I hope I'm not, it's a neurotoxin. So it has to be taken where you're in the right space with the make sure your heart rate and all that other stuff is correct.
oh, wow.
And
So so it really does tax the body. Yeah.
yeah, and I won't like bore everybody with the whole in and out of different forms of the way you take it. I took it in a space that was just taking the root bark, but it does work really well for people that suffer from addictions. And what they do is they extract a certain chemical that they call a flood. So I took the more just traditional route. Uh, And I had a friend that did it, and when he came back, he looked like he was glowing. And so I was like, I was curious. But adding all those things together, I had some pretty incredible on his psychic experiences, you can call them, because you are opened up. You're seeing things, you're getting information. For me, most of my work was healing work, receiving information for my own personal healing.
Mhm.
Information, a lot of it was ancestral, familial programs that needed to go, things within my own childhood that were unresolved. So for me, it was always really a lot of that psychic information was very personal, like for my own journey.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite plant medicine
I would
where,
probably
well,
say
perhaps that you just enjoyed the most or that you received the most healing from, or both of those? Yeah.
it's the cactus medicine. And there's two that I worked with. One was San Pedro, which is the tall, because
Mhm.
they both have mescaline in them. And all these were not done, or they were done in places where it's illegal. Wink, wink.
Mhm. Uh-huh.
That's There's San Pedro, which is from South America. And then I got the opportunity to work a few times with peyote from true healers too, like true indigenous healers. I feel like out of the cactus medicine, peyote was the most instrumental in
Well,
healing me, even though I have a
mhm,
love for the San Pedro cactus. But I feel
mhm,
like the peyote was stronger, more direct, where
mhm,
the tall cactus was more like easygoing. We'll get there, but we're not going to push as hard on
mhm.
you, kind of. It's more dreamlike and it's more loving. It doesn't just
Oh,
blast you open. And that's what I liked about cactus medicine as opposed to ayahuasca, which was very, all right, we're going to go deep. We're going to go far. You're going to see
mhm.
things that are like not of this world. They're very otherworldly. So,
Do you have any experiences from either peyote or San Pedro that you would like to share that were uh, profound for you, if you feel like it? Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm going to go back to peyote because I feel it was towards the end of my 5 years. And I feel like I got the most incredible removal of blockages that it was pushing me towards, I want to call it like my graduation from plant
Mhm,
medicine. It
mhm,
really pulled out what I was, the reason I even arrived at plant medicine. Peyote was able for me to go back and resolve in personal karma, but it was also tied into like family line. So that's what was super trippy is I got to go back in this time in Turkey where I cleared this man that I was that took on this child bride. And it's clearly, we've all done things, I should say, where, you know,
oh, yeah.
I was
Mhm,
involved in a time and space where it was very normalized to take on a child bride, and I was an older man and start a family with that person. And the result of those choices that I made at that time affected the family that I'm in now.
mhm,
So the psychic experience I got to see was being brought by peyote back to that time with that man. Have a conversation with him about what he did that caused these
mhm,
sexual traumas in
mhm,
family line that were like weaving in and out of generations.
mhm,
And how I was to end, I was called into this body as Kim to end the results of those choices I made then. And I had to clean it up. I had to talk to him. I had to elevate him. I had to get him to understand that was like a low consciousness choice. And then he moved on. I
mhm,
actually watched him like that pain and all that stuff start to dissipate. I started to purge.
mhm.
I began the forgiveness prayers and work, and that started to clean up through the branches of the family tree. And then I saw this liberation in my DNA.
Wow.
It was pretty
Wow.
powerful.
So literally, you could literally see this in your mind's eye or in your like
It's like watching a
in
screen like of a movie
uh-huh.
that's like fantastical.
Yeah. Wow. Oh. And
And
when
then
you say purpose, were you throwing up too, or was that after you were
to,
throwing up?
so there's a lot of throwing up in these. Like they
I
call it
know.
getting well. So when you throw up or you cry or you sweat or you poop or whatever you're doing to release medicine, they call it the medicine. And then I remember
Yeah.
coming back into the circle after I purged and sat
Mhm,
down. Something had changed, and I'd heard you've done this work. It's time for you to, because there was somebody that I had been connected to that I very deeply connected to at that circle that was very
mhm,
codependent, unhealthy
mhm,
connection. And that my ancestors, they said, now you need to let him go and you need to
mhm,
learn how to be a woman of spirit on your own 2 feet. And then you need to move forward. And that was really hard to hear because he was my best friend, like at that time. But
mhm,
some whole dynamic changed. I don't know why. And then all the different circumstances led up to that friendship ending. And
mhm,
the work's pretty
mhm,
profound. And I haven't, I know we were talking about that's the kind of stuff you experience in plant medicine.
mhm,
It can be really intense, really hard on the adrenals that came out of a lot of those 5 years. A wreck. My
mhm,
adrenals were a mess. My hormones are a mess. I had to sleep and rest. But there had been in those 5 years, there had been a lot of psychic information that had come through. But some of it was like I was telling you, it's not, people can get really caught up. And this is why we're here in this conversation.
yeah.
People can really get caught up in their plant medicine experiences as thinking that they're getting very pure psychic information or that they are psychic.
Mhm,
Truly, it's just it can be like an enabling thing. Like you can be intuitive and psychic outside of that. That does not make
mhm,
you psychic. And in
mhm,
fact, I was just telling Lorena that there's a woman, her name's Kat Courtney. She's a properly trained ayahuasquera.
mhm,
She talks about this. That she talks about how
mhm,
everybody's given these visions and they think they see all this psychic information. But a lot of times, especially ayahuasca, the plants have a consciousness and a sentience, and they want to be used for healing in the proper ways. But if you get out of balance with it, they will give you psychic information that's incorrect.
Mhm,
And a lot of people come out of their ceremonies like, oh, like Mama Aya showed me I'm supposed to be with this person or I'm
mhm,
supposed to have babies. And they get really, then, and they'll get really attached to forcing these outcomes of certain people or certain things in their life only to meet their ego, to see their
mhm,
attachments. But that wasn't true.
mhm,
They were chasing after the wrong thing. And then the thing doesn't work out and they lose it for a while. But that was always part of the healing process that comes from plant medicine
yeah,
to show
yeah.
you, to take you down a journey or a path. But it's not true psychic gifts, if that makes sense. And I'm going to say that
Mhm.
very
Yeah.
how I feel about it.
Mhm. That makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. And I've not had as many experiences as you have had. I've definitely mushrooms, San Pedro, done Cambo. Yeah. That's
Do you have like intuitive experiences on combo?
That's a really good question. I'm trying to remember. What I remember is the intensity of it. And you feel that surging, like instantly surging into your veins. It's pretty wild. It felt like there was some old stuff releasing that had to do with some smoke, if that makes sense, like darker smoke leaving. There was a lot of stuff around men
Mhm.
but, and abuse around that. It's, yeah, because
That-
I've done it
yeah.
3 times with Kim. Yeah, very intense. Because I was going to do a series of it, but that last time, I swelled up so much, like my face and stuff, that I just thought,
Yeah.
oh, maybe I shouldn't do this again. Because
Yeah,
it
they
is a
did give
poison.
that. Mhm.
Yeah. But my I think the biggest journey that I've had was with the San Pedro. And you said that was like softer. Wow. Not for me.
That was a lot.
It's,
It's
yeah.
like if you went to Starbucks and you got a tall versus a what's
Yeah.
a venti.
Yeah. Like you got the extra large. Yeah. That was, and I don't know about other people, but man, I threw up a lot and probably on and off the whole time, 12 hours or something.
Wow.
It's insane. Yeah. It's a long time. But I'm already very psychic, very clairvoyant, and I saw so many things that it was like crazy. Past lives, back to the Vikings, just so much stuff. And it did leave that door open more than it usually was for a while, but then it sneaks back down to maybe just a little bit more than you were before, as far as really opening up those psychic gates. It does, but then it swings back down. And so maybe there's just a little crack.
Yeah.
If you weren't very open, you'll be open, but then it'll swing back down to just a crack. And that's your job to learn how to open that up more. But what my biggest thing about San Pedro that one time was that I saw the light and dark, the fight between light and dark. That, and I kept seeing that over and over again.
Oh
The
wow.
light, the dark, and that how they fight and come out of it and then fight again and come out of it. And at some point, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired of you guys. Like this light, dark fighting. I'm like, I literally had been watching it. It's projected out in front of me, and I'm watching the battle between light and dark. And I went, oh my God, I am so tired of you guys. And I got it and walked away. Like, yeah. And it's still being played out all the time in the world. But yeah, I was literally watching it going, oh my God, is this ever going to end? This battle between light and dark. I think that is 3D reality. That's part of the construct that we're in. So I got to watch it like from that level for, I don't know, a couple hours. But San Pedro lasts about 12 hours, I think. So lasts for a long time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely I should say Iboga is longer, but Iboga is its own animal. I'm glad I did it because I feel like it's the one that
Mhm.
said to me, "Okay, Like it pulled out a repressed memory that was causing the core root of a lot of my, it was like a childhood repressed memory. And it said, okay, we got to it. Now it's time you move on. And I was shocked at the time because I had over identified myself with Kambo in the whole plant medicine community. And then when it was telling me you need to go out and find all that you are seeking within your own groundedness, like it was like trying to tell me the most important journey you could take with your intuitive abilities and gifts is by doing them as yourself, by doing them in your own body. And embodied is because I think what happens with plant medicine is we get blown open and we have a dreaming experience. It's like when you dream, you leave your body, right? So all these plant medicines allow you to leave your body while being awake, fully awake. And then so you're going and you're exploring all these different realms, right? But it can get a little delusional and the information can get a little crazy, I think, because you're out there having this information come in versus anchoring it deeply in your body. And I know you're not the biggest fan of Darius, but he talks about even plant medicine. He talks about plant medicine and how what happens is when you leave your body, you're exploring realms within the creation of the plants themselves. So that's why he says it's really important to work with more of your dreams. And a lot of the out of body people will talk about trying to, and the Tibetans doing dream work, which then you're able to actually traverse the realms versus dimensions. Because he said the plant medicine is still in the dimensional space versus getting out and going into the realm space. And I agree with that. I agree if that makes any sense. That ayahuasca, peyote, you can explore, but they're still within the third dimensional space. Is what I'm the four-dimensional space. You're not going outside of any farther. And then you can get a lot farther if you're working with meditation and dream work. That, yeah.
Yeah. And I think one of the hazards of working with plant medicine is that it can leave holes in your aura. You can have a lot of aura holes that there can be invasion. You took something. I'm sorry. That's, yeah, I've met a few people who can create a real long list of experiences that they've had that are amazing. But it was on plant medicine. It was mushrooms. And they do it continually. It's a tool. And so at some point, and I've said this before, you have to do that within yourself. Like you said, you had to say goodbye to the tools so that, because it's a lot harder to get there without the tools. But that's the true, once you have started working from that space, you can do phenomenal work. Phenomenal. And it's more real in the sense, in an energy sense, it's more real because you haven't taken this thing to shift your perception. Yeah. So there's more power in that. That's where you start developing your true power
Well,
because it becomes part of who you are, not just using a tool.
and I'll come out and say it too. The way I see it now too is it's like anything in life, everything serves as time and a space. These things were created by nature
For
for
a
us
reason.
to heal and in very dramatic, fast ways.
Yeah.
But what I was shown towards the end of when I was being kindly exited to the door by Iboga, not even realizing that it was my time to leave the plant medicine work and community. And just like I had to let go of like some codependent in my life with people, I also had to acknowledge that I was still relying on something external to myself. And so what the medicine was showing me, my next level of my journey was to realize I had everything inside of me. And it's still like work in progress, and it was going to take more discipline, dedication, and belief and experience that I had this within me, that I could still have these fantastical experiences if I just applied myself and worked with the spirit inside of me. How is it any different if you're constantly drinking a medicine or taking a medicine to taking a drug all
Yeah.
the time,
Yeah.
you know?
The thing is, yeah. So who's running the show there? Does it own you or do you own it? That's because
Still a need
using
to
that,
escape if you're abusing it the wrong way.
yeah. Or that it can start taking over your life where it owns you in a sense, like an addiction owns you. So y- there's a taking back your power at some point away from that thing. And that doesn't mean that you can't ever use it, but that's, yeah, it's gaining your own personal strength
Mhm.
and learning what that is and trusting it. And that's, man, that's back. Say it all the time. That is the work. That is consciousness work. It's not as exciting. It's not as fun. It's, but
Maybe
one
you
thing,
so that no, you just made me think of like the experience I started to have too at the end of my plant medicine journey. I had just come off of a weekend of working with ayahuasca and this shaman from Peru. And I was having these experiences for a few days of feeling this ball of hot, bright light and love inside of me. And it was freaking me out. And it was like, wait, what is this? Started to get drawn back to is this has been here the whole time. This is what you need to work with. And it was scary to think, wait a minute, but I'm not on medicine. Like, how come I'm like, why am I experiencing? Like, but it goes
yeah.
back to the hero's journey. You're always seeking, seeking, and then you find you come right back home and you find out it's always been inside of you.
Yeah. That's so I've been working with this new system of techniques that is like the Islamic Halashwar, and it's a lot of mantra work. It's a lot of meditation. You also do yantras, but it's really intense work and it takes a lot of dedication. But when I first started, one of the first experiences I had was that and this, what you said reminded me of this. That's why I'm bringing it up. I was sitting in a circle at my studio and I literally started feeling my heart opening up, but in a way that it has never opened up before. It was like peeling open and this white light was coming down, but opening from my heart, going up and out. And it felt like the mother, like divine mother. And it was so foreign to me. And this incredible sense of love was coming through with it that it scared. And it's,
Yeah.
oh my God. Oh my God. I'm feeling this incredible sense of love. Wait a minute. I'm not used to it. Can I trust this? But, and it was beautiful and divine. And it scared me
Because it feels like it
because
could annihilate you in a way too. Did it feel
it
like
was,
that?
it felt like I wouldn't have my life. Yeah. Like I wouldn't have my old life. And I've
Yeah.
had moments where I'm doing this and I am doing a lot of new energy healing systems that are so incredibly powerful. But, oh, what was I going to say? I had this moment where it's like, oh, so you really think you can do this? You think you can heal like Jesus? And so that's the doubts. That is
Yeah.
our human, that our doubts coming in. But that's spirit, that's soul. Like that's part of the clearing process. And that might come up over and over again. But also this sense of, and then just the opposite. So you really can do this. Wow. You really can do this. And it has nothing to do with taking any drugs. And what coming out of people's bodies is like crazy. It's super powerful. Like the other day, I had the, a construct. This is like somebody back at generational, like about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5, I don't know how many generations of women who was like a shaman that they think Mexican. So Sarah,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm saying it right,
Yeah. You are.
but, and she had come up and she was talking to me and she was saying, I did what I had to do. Like she had cast some serious spells on some men
Oh, okay.
through, through through that time period to have some sense of power because of what men were doing that was terrible. And so we had a conversation like, and that's okay. You had to do what you had to do, but you
Right.
can let this go now because this is healing. And also someone else I had an experience where Comes from many lifetimes of being a woman and having this male patriarchy existing that's still in somebody's structure, like their belief system and energetic structure, where they're still being defined by it and acting from that place of, I can't have my power as a woman and just do what I want to do and be seen as I am. So this construct of this man popped out of her body, and it was big, and it was cream tan color, and it was like big. And it started talking to me. And again, it told me to stop. It actually, this is the first time I've had like where these beings are actually speaking to me and saying things. And he told me to stop what I was doing. And all I thought was, I'm not having a conversation with this because it's an energy construct. It's like an
Yeah.
egregore, but for many lifetimes, part of the belief system that had actually almost in a sense taken on a life of its own and trying to control this woman who I'm working on. And I just thought, we're not having a conversation. And I'm not stopping because I'm not done.
Right.
Because I wasn't. And like, yeah. Anyway, and it didn't feel scary. The thing is, it didn't feel scary. It felt empty, but it's still trying to hang on
Yeah.
uh, to stay alive within her energy field. And at some point, it just went and fizzled out. So, anyways, so these are the things that are happening within doing energy healing inside a really powerful construct that is work, that is actual work, like doing meditation, doing mantras, doing I'm really focusing on very specific ways of doing that. It's incredibly powerful. Um, and exciting. But at the same time, you still go through the human things of, so you think you can heal like Jesus. That was a voice
Yeah.
in my head that is creating doubts. But we're all supposed to be, if you read what Jesus said, we have that ability. We're
Yep.
supposed to be able to do that. We're supposed to be able to connect and have these experiences that are otherworldly,
But then
that
here at the
dive
same
into
time.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's more, even though it seems fantastical, it's, you're very grounded and, your energy field is more protected actually as you're having these, as you're doing the work than if you were doing the plant medicine. Yeah. Um, yeah. I know somebody's life who was completely ruined by doing ayahuasca, and she went to Peru and
There's a lot, and I've had this conversation with a friend of mine who's we have about 3 minutes left, but ayahuasca shaman, and there's a lot of spiritual war we glamorize things,
mhm,
as Westerners. There's a lot of
yeah.
spiritual warfare going on in indigenous people. They know how to do these things. Sometimes people assume because this person is native or they
Mhm.
don't have humanity inside of them, like weaknesses, jealousies, and
Yeah.
a lot of times too, what I hear from him is shamans will be attacking other shamans. So you can also get
Mhm.
in the way of getting some of that energy from those spiritual attacks. So
Yeah.
there are things like that exist in the world, and it's super important these days to only sit in a space like that and get opened up with somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah. That's a
Like,
good way to end that.
and I hate to
Wow.
say that, but like people will just, oh, this person has this medicine. I'm going to go sit. You're opening up a can of worms that you don't know what you're opening up to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. That's
Yeah.
how I see it now.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah. It's a can of worms, like Pandora's box. There might be a gift at the bottom, but there also might be all this other scary crap around it that you
And if
don't know what you're going to crack.
you sit with a rare person who is very gifted and very humble and knows how to clean up the space and hold the space, then you're very safe. But I think those people are few and far between nowadays. I can say it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah. Yeah. It's been glamorized. So be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful out there. Really.
And
I
a
don't
hairy
think,
s I always say if you get in a hairy position or you pick up something in a space like that, to really seek out Kambo, because that is one thing Kambo does really good at. It can really
Mhm.
push out a lot of bad energies you picked up in healing spaces with medicine work.
Uh,
But
That's
Again,
messenger.
only go out and find somebody who's very trained in combo to do that.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. Is it right for you? Some people it's not right for.
I should say combo is very safe. There
Mm.
really has never been anybody who's passed away from it. I don't know if you knew that, but it only gets into interesting spaces when people who shouldn't be taking it take it.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
all right,
Have,
everybody,
be a psychic explorer. It's fun, but be careful.
on your own
Yeah. Yeah.
in your
Absolutely.
everyday life as you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. You can do it yourself.
Don't abuse plant medicines. They're just there to
Yeah.
help you heal, not to make you psychic.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. You have to do that meditation and breath work. Very
And
good for
dream
that.
work.
And dream work. Yeah. All of that. Really good for that. Yeah. All
All
right. Are we
right,
done?
everybody. Yes. Say goodbye to
All right.
everybody out there.
Yeah. Bye, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Please share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you have questions, please ask in comments.